Deshaun Watson talked about working his way through some of the challenges with the offensive line, as well as just competing against another team in these joint practices.
It's good to get out there and compete against a different opponent. Very versatile defense and what Flo do in Minnesota, and it was good to go out there and see different looks and just compete. I don't consider any of those are problems. It just comes down to communications, different looks. This is a joint practice. Usually, going through the week, you kind of have preparation, looking at film, things like this, things like that. But in training camp, you kind of just show up and you kind of try to do the base rules, and sometimes the base rules, the defense might have tendencies that might override those base rules, what we talk about as an offense. So I'm very confident in my offensive line. Each one of those guys, they work hard, they study hard, they try hard. So all that stuff can be fixed, and that's why we go through training camps and we practice against different teams. But overall, there's some good things out there. Keep stacking these days, keep learning, keep growing from it. It's not going to always be perfect, but we always strive to be perfect, and that's why we call it practice and training camp.
Let's welcome in Casey Kinnamon from the Orange and Brown Report, the All Eyes on Cleveland podcast, the Barking Browns podcast. Casey, level of concern with the offensive line, and I couch this by saying it's August 15th, and we still haven't seen Jack Conklin or Jedrick Wills in team or individual drills.
My level of concern is somewhere between substantial and severe. That's kind of where I'm at right now. And if you just look at who you have, the interior, I have no doubt they'll get it all figured out. They even have good depth there. You re-sign Nick Harris. You drafted Zach Zenter to back up Joel Bitonio, White Taylor. They'll figure that out. And you go into this season, we talked about all off season. You have 3 starting caliber tackles. That's a great problem to have. Only problem is only one of those guys has been available to you. So you found out real quick how bad your depth is at that position. And that's not a problem that's unique to the Browns. If you look across the league, offensive line depth is pretty atrocious. But it's kind of hard to look at your backup options and not be concerned at this point because it's getting late awfully early. I know it's only August 15th, but if you haven't seen those other 2 practice yet, it is concerning, although Jedrick Wills was able to get some work in today in front of the media.
Yeah, I was concerned about the line, and people kind of, an offensive line doesn't age gracefully. It happens pretty much all at once. So I hope we're like pushing the panic button with that way too early. We'll see. But it is something to keep an eye on as we move forward.